Okay, so this is going to be a weird video for me to do. I'm a single guy, never had any kids. I want to talk about children and parents. And because of my situation, I think most of the video is going to be talking about the part of the children parents dynamic that's not talked about is when the parents and children are both adults. But that said, I still have to cover the traditional verses. If you think I'm just going to cover traditional verses in any video, you apparently just ran into my channel by chance. So I'm starting off with these two verses or three verses. Jesus is highlighting a break in the natural continuity. In other words, naturally things aren't this way, but it will be this way. Matthew 10:21. Now brother will deliver a brother to death, and a father his child, and children will rise up against parents and cause them to be put to death. Naturally, our instincts that God created is to protect our parents. Shoot, I didn't even get the verse for when you cursed your parents in the Old Testament, you're to be put to death. Because that really wasn't the focus of what I was looking at. It's in there. Look it up. Sorry. It's in Leviticus, which I just read and went over, 3 or 4 times. And so you got Matthew 10:21 and you got Mark 13:12. Basically says the same thing because it's a synoptic. So I'm not even going to read it. It's verbatim. Luke 21:16 is a little bit different. It says you'll be betrayed even by parents and brothers, relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death. The natural order of things is we protect those who are closest to us. You know? Like a man protecting his wife. I'm not going to reference the current news. Not going to do that. This isn't the place for that. In Romans 1:30, it talks about a list. This is a list of signs of the last times and evildoers, backbiters, haters of God, violent, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, and disobedient to parents. Now, I specifically believe that this disobedient to parents is talking about children and parents. Because the verse that says, well, I don't have a reference for it. Well, that's what I get. Proper planning prevents perfectly poor results. Perfectly poor performance. Yeah, children, obey your parents. This is Ephesians 6, I believe. Obey your parents, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise. Promise being this, that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. Learning from your parents will enhance you. And that doesn't necessarily mean there's positive and negative learning from your parents. You learn what to do and what not to do from your parents. If you just learn to be carbon copy, sometimes honoring your father and mother is being better than them. One of my favorite scenes in Fringe, the TV show, was where Peter comes back from an alternate universe with a message from his mom. Something Apodero 2. In Greek, it says, "It's be a better man than your father." It was stuck with me because we need to learn from the things our parents do right and learn from the things our parents do wrong. And you, as fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training and admonition of the Lord. I think this verse is the favorite verse of children to quote to their parents. I'm sure I did it as a kid. No, you're being too harsh on me. But sometimes the training and admonition of the Lord can be harsh. So we need to mirror the way the Lord deals with us, gentle but firm. I'm also reiterate the fact that I am not a parent, have no clue. I don't deal with kids. I see my nieces and nephews. Hi guys, how are you? There you go. See you next family gathering. Whatever. All right, so this is an interesting passage. So this, to me, is all I'm covering about non-adult children and their parents. They're supposed to learn from their parents. Even at a young age, we learn positively and negatively. I was impressed on myself, even at a young age, to not do certain things and to do certain things. I definitely did not ever want to be angry and lose control of my temper. And I wanted to learn and study the Bible, positive and negative. We all have something that when we deal with our parents, we have to be honest with the situation. Otherwise, without being honest, we carry down the idea of generational sin, not something we're going to talk about today, but I think it has to do with accepting everything from your parents without judging it individually. All right, so this passage is kind of weird. Now we transition to parents and adult children. All right, so Paul is talking about, I have become a fool in boasting. You have compelled me. I think it's Paul. Once again, I got the verses, but I didn't get the references. I've been commended among the most eminent of the apostles, though I am nothing. Truly the signs of blah, 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 how awesome I am. I'm not awesome at the same time. He's commending himself. All right. Then he goes on and says, now for the third time I am ready to come to you. He desires to come to them. But I will not be burdensome to you, for I do not seek yours, but you. And he gives an example. For children ought not to lay up for their parents, but parents for the children. I will very gladly spend and be spent for your souls. Okay, so he's talking to them as children. So he's saving up to spend on them, the children. And he gives the example the parents are supposed to save up for the kids, not the kids for the parents. I think there's a lot of verses in the Bible that only reference a specific topic once. And so we disregard it. I don't know if that's proper. Just because there's very little evidence doesn't mean it's not compelling. So I covered the context of that passage. All right. All right. So we'll talk about how responsibility shifts. I actually went and looked up Jewish information on parents and adult kids. The funny part is the site I looked at was almost identical to the Christian side. It's the same type of words of wisdom, just with different context for them. John, or whatever, the book called John 9:22-24. His parents said that these things, okay, we're talking about a miracle Jesus did, and then the rabbis came and they went to question them. For the Jews had already agreed that if anyone confessed that he was the Christ, he put out of the synagogue. Therefore, his parents said, "He is of age, ask him." Which I think is interesting, because if the parents had responsibility for their child's actions throughout their entire lives, there would be no transfer of responsibility. He is of age, ask him. So if honor your parents was obedience to everything that they asked you to do throughout your entire life, then there would be no transfer of responsibility. And there's also, why would Paul say that the parents need to save up for the kids and not the kids for the children? Kids for the parents. And of course, the Jews said, all we know is that this man is a sinner. Okay, so what is our responsibility to our adult parents while we're adults? Luke 6:31. And just as you want men to do to you, do also to them likewise. Golden rule. Right? We are to treat them as brothers in Christ. I like the term submit. Submit to ourselves one to another as brothers in Christ. So just as you would any fellow believer, you're to have that type of peaceable relationship with your adult parents. Whether or not they disagree with you, we're to honor them and be peaceable with them and treat them, especially if they're believers, as joint heirs in Christ. Okie dokie.